The Outlaws film summary and review. The Outlaws, about a blithering schmuck, Adam Devine, who gets tangled up with his fiancée's secret bank robber parents, Pierce Brosnan and Ellen Barkin, would be skippable even if it didn't have the rotten timing to debut a week after the death of the great Alan Arkin, one of the stars of The In-Laws, a movie that this new film incompetently tries to channel. Nearly every aspect of this feature, from Tyler Spindle, formerly a second-unit director for Adam Sandler's Happy Madison Productions, is derivative and desperate and, at the same time, bizarrely pleased with itself. Devine's character, Owen Browning, is a bank manager, despite being so cloddish and lacking in judgment or impulse control that it's hard to imagine him being trusted to take a bag of garbage to the curb. His fiancée Parker, Nina Dobrev, is a yoga instructor everyone in Owen's family inexplicably thinks is a stripper. She's pleasant and conventionally attractive, but just quirky enough not to come across as bland or dull. She seems stable and mature. We never understand why she'd be with a guy like Owen, who freaks out at the most minor things, obsesses over action figures and pop culture trivia, and can't overcome the urge to blurt out any thought that pops into his head, no matter how inappropriate or insulting. This sort of dynamic is the movie equivalent of the TV sitcom formula where an irritating, clueless, selfish man-child somehow ends up married to a beautiful saint. Neither Owen nor his parents, Julie Haggerty and Richard Kind, have ever met Parker's parents, Billy and Lily, whose cover story is that they're globe-trotting anthropologists who've been in the Amazon for many years studying the Yanomami tribe. To their everlasting regret, Billy and Lily do the meet the in-laws thing. Owen spills enough details about his job to guarantee a robbery and an investigation because Billy and Lily need a lot of cash fast, and Owen makes it easy for them to raise it. The story is effectively over halfway through the film's running time but insists on continuing, serving up theoretically madcap but mostly repetitive retreads of things that happened in the first half, but with more car chases and twists, and shooting and yelling. The cast is as impressive as its efforts are futile. Besides Brosnan, Barkin, Kind, and Haggerty, The Outlaws features Poorna Jagannathan as Billy and Lily's deranged money launderer, Michael Rooker as an alcoholic FBI agent who wears a straw boater hat in lieu of genuine eccentricity, and Lil Rel Howery as the hero's excitable, shout-why best friend, a type who's been imported straight from Get Out. The Outlaws does this sort of thing a lot, compulsively reminding you of better films you could be watching instead, from the Oceans, Pictures and Heat, to Die Hard, a snippet of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony plays when Owen gets to see the inside of the most sophisticated bank vault in town. The title even boasts a grammatically unnecessary hyphen to ensure you know which classic provided its core DNA. Overqualified bit players show up, goof around a bit, and disappear. All have been delightful presences elsewhere. This film gives them next to nothing to work with. They're kneecapped by the sloppy, improv why mucking about that's become the default mainstream Hollywood comedy mode since the 90s. There are two credited screenwriters, Evan Turner and Ben Zazev. One would assume or perhaps hope that they contributed the occasional line that has personality and seems tied to the psychology of one of the characters, as when Margie insists, "I always knew they were criminals. They drink during the day. But it's hard to tell, and in the end, who cares?" Half-assed doesn't describe this movie. It's quarter-assed at best. It plays like a workshop filmed in full dress on lit and decorated sets. Characters blurt sentences that are not only nonsensical but are barely connected to the story, while the other characters in the scene labor to top them or else react by wincing or huffing or making a "wow, that's weird. Why would anyone say something like that?" face. Devine's mugging is non-stop and barely modulated. The movie is shot in the wide cinemascope ratio for no discernible reason other than to reassure viewers that they're watching cinema, rather than 40 YouTube sketches strung end to end. There's a solid tradition of droll but hard-edged slapstick comedies of the type that this film wants to evoke. It stretches from The In-Laws, through Midnight Run, and The Freshman, through Central Intelligence, and Game Night. But the worst 5 seconds of any of these is better than the best moment in The Outlaws. Imagine the most irritating DreamWorks animated comedy that could exist with humans instead of animals or creatures and done in live action. You won't have to imagine very hard because there's a scene in The Outlaws where a robber wears a Shrek mask. Of course, he tries to do the character's Scottish accent. And, of course, he asks one of his colleagues if he did the accent well or sounded Irish. Watch The In-Laws instead. Now playing on Netflix.